What's going on, guys? Welcome to the channel. Today I am on the split screen with a special guest and a special episode of 21 Questions. You guys know that's where we learn about different people in the fragrance community. I've been watching this lady's channel for quite some time, just learning and absorbing the knowledge and seeing another woman in the fragrance community talk about fragrance. I feel like on this channel, we bring a lot of guys, bring kiddos, the age range. I've brought people 18 years old all the way up to 50. And so we've covered a lot of different age groups, but we haven't had a lot of women on the channel, and they are very much a part of this thriving community. And so I'm really excited to do this episode of 21 Questions so you guys can learn about somebody else in fragrance and really just celebrate people's individual journey. And so without further ado, I'd like to introduce my special guest. This is Mitra from Mitra et Les Parfums. How are you doing today?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing very well. Now, I would normally ask you to tell us a little bit about yourself, but I'm going to do that for you because once we get into these questions, you'll be able to tell your story. But Mitra does a lot of great content on fragrance. She has a ton of fragrances, and similar to me, this is like our happy place, is wearing fragrances, getting nerdy, looking into fragrances, and it's been a part of both of our lives for quite some time. I think you guys are going to get a lot of great content out of this episode, and I'm just excited to learn more about her and share her story. We're going to fly through 21 questions. Again, if you don't have an answer to a certain question, you can just hit the pass button and we will move through them. But I've designed these to kind of have some storytelling, have some lighthearted fun stuff, and then also ask you about particular fragrances and stuff for people who want to nerd out on the latest release and stuff like that. So without further ado, are you ready to dive in?
I am ready.
Okay, awesome. Now, first question, obviously, do you have a scent of the day?
Yes, I'm wearing Celine La Peau Nue.
Okay, which house?
Celine.
Oh,
Marque
Celine.
Celine.
Okay. Yes, yes. I am wearing a day three fragrance, which I cannot say the name of, but I am enjoying it. So, question two, do you prefer easygoing or simple, or sorry, easygoing slash simple or complex slash daring scents and or both?
Depends on my mood. Some days I feel simple and easygoing, and some days it's daring, but I have a lot of daring fragrances in my collection.
Okay, perfect. So you rock both. That's awesome. And what are your top two? I already know the answer, but people need to know. What are your top two favorite houses?
I am a Chanel girl in heart, and I will always be a Chanel girl in heart, but I have a love affair with Guerlain.
Oh, I'm getting there slowly but surely. I'm going to throw in a second question to piggyback off of that. What in particular about Chanel drew you in? Is there kind of a story tied to that? Is it the one you're most familiar with as far as a house? What was the draw there?
I grew up with Chanel. I think my mother owned some Chanels. I don't know which Chanels my mom owned, but she had Chanels. And I grew up having Chanels and being around Chanel fragrances. And my mom had Chanel makeup as well. And, it just that's the connection that kept me close to it. And then, like, I discovered obviously Les Exclusive afterwards. I
And then
didn't
it
know
was
how
over,
to.
right?
It was over. Yes, it was over.
Yeah,
Already
they
won my
have
heart.
so many great fragrances in that line, and I think there's a nostalgia to the Lay exclusive line that hard to find everywhere else, especially with how many different fragrances that are offered from that line. What was the first fragrance from Chanel that you fell in love with for yourself?
Um, I think my very first Chanel was now I'm gonna mess it up. I think it was a Chanel Coco Mademoiselle. Like that's my first Chanel ever.
My wife and I just smelled that fragrance again a couple weeks ago. Actually, we were in Neiman's, and the seller of the fragrances wanted to give us the whole story, and I've already heard it so many times, but sometimes you just let them talk. So uh,
Right.
my wife hadn't heard the story, so I was like, oh, this will be cool for her to kind of see into my world a little bit. And so we were smelling that fragrance. It's timeless. Now,
Absolutely.
let's imagine you were fired from your job today
Okay.
and you are going to go back into the industry and you are going to get hired by the neighbor company or the company competition. What would be your job interview fragrance?
Oh, that's a hard one. Um, Probably I'll put something sophisticated. I will be Boy from Chanel.
Boy from Chanel. Okay. Okay. Excellent. Yeah, my kind of go-to in that lane is probably Coromandel or Le Leon. I don't know why they just stick to me.
They are
Okay.
strong. They're daring for sure.
Yeah, they are. They just bring something out of me. Now, what's a fragrance that stopped you in your tracks that you smelled on somebody? Do you have any scent memories with a particular fragrance?
Not a particular fragrance, but I do like the most kind of strongest scent memory for me is my grandfather. Like he used to put lilac petals in his prayer mat,
Mm-hmm.
and when it was the prayer time, he would open the prayer mat, and then the room would fill with the smell of jasmine, sometimes lilac, and that is the strongest scent memory I have. And Grandpa and I, we had a really very close connection, so I keep that memory really close to my heart. So that's the strongest scent memory that I have.
Mm, that's cool. So that's probably a very comforting scent profile,
Lilacs
especially.
are lilac season. I am very romantic, not romantic or nostalgic. Like that's a better word. I walk around. I always think about my grandpa. But there's another scent actually. Is like a scent of the Nivea cream, like the blue tin
Mm-hmm.
Nivea cream. That's something that my mom would put on. Like we grew up with Nivea blue tin cream, and that there's a lot of scent profiles like that. Like 1957 has that kind of scent profile. There is Musc de Soie from Van Cleef Darpel that has that scent profile, and those are very kind of close to me and dear to me. The kind of scent profile.
That's awesome. That's so cool. What is your Zen fragrance? The fragrance that makes you feel the most at peace?
At peace. Wow. So yeah. So I would say the same. Like in that connection, it gives me that scent profile. That kind of maybe 1957 mustaswa or anything very musky and soft, or those are some of the fragrances that would give me that feeling. Again, Nivea has also this little uh, fragrance that smells like the blue tin cream, and that's very soothing to me in that way.
Okay, so kind of like musk and floral compositions kind of
Yeah,
point you in that direction.
soft florals and musk. That would be something soothing to me. I mean, sorry, I'm getting messages here.
That's okay. Awesome. Well, now you guys know why maybe Drake's Summer Mink is getting so much love right now because that thing is loaded with soft florals and
Really?
musk. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. It's a
wow, I haven't tried it.
yeah, it's a vanilla soft floral musk fragrance. That's unisex, feminine leaning, and women absolutely love it. Men, kind of younger men, really love it. I'd say like 25 and up kind of is 50-50, but notoriously a lot of women are really drawn to it. And that might be why, soft florals and musk is hard to hate. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. They're
Um,
so innocent, right? Like, I mean, for me, I always say, like, there are certain fragrances I associate with, like, beige for me is the scent of a bride, and from Chanel, and gardenia is scent of a mother.
mm,
If I were to buy someone a baby shower, if a gift for them, it would be a gardenia, um,
that's
mother
awesome.
to me.
It's crazy. When I was smelling the Le Exclusive line, for some reason, when I got home, I had the gardenia fragrance, and that fragrance made me appreciate gardenia more because you don't really get it a lot with masculine fragrances.
Mhm.
And I feel like it's the type of floral where raw materials matter. It has to be as natural as possible. And I really appreciated that fragrance. I actually reviewed it because I was like, wow, this is what I would like to smell on a woman. This is nice. Um, so, is there a fragrance recently that you've been wanting, but you haven't pulled the trigger on it yet?
That's a hard question.
Why is
Um,
there a list of like 100?
no, it's because I'm so impulsive. If I want something, I've already bought it. Like,
Mm,
not
mm,
in that, not in that. I don't, I, not really. Honestly, it's been like I am. God, I don't know. I probably am around 700 fragrances, and not a lot of new things that I smell are kind of mind blowing to me. So I'm kind of like slowed down in that looking for something. But yes, there's one thing in my list, and that actually got into my list yesterday. Now that you mention it, it's Taboo. It's a fragrance called Taboo. It's a vintage fragrance, and I think it's discontinued in the Taboo X Straight. I want to smell that one from Dana. I think it's the house is called Dana, but I want to get the bottle of that one.
Is it just expensive if you want it now, or how do you get it?
It's gonna be looking a lot like through. I looked up on eBay. It's kind of expensive. I may have to use some of my connections in the vintage world and see if they can find me some.
Hmm.
It's gonna be hard. The hunt is gonna be, yeah, treacherous.
Well, we're rooting for you to get your hands on some.
Yeah.
um,
Thank you.
is I know you have some scent memories as a kid.
Mhm.
What when did you first get into like actual fragrance though? Like
Oh,
bottled
fragrance.
fragrance. What was the age, time period? Do you remember anything about that time?
Yeah, I think I was about like I would steal from my mom's like fragrances before, like, but I didn't own anything on my own.
Mm-hmm.
I was about 9 years old. My dad took a trip to Japan with his company, and coming back, he brought me some body sprays. And I don't know why he brought me some body sprays or body mists. And then in them, there was a spray like a body mist of jupe fragrance.
Oh shoot.
And I was
Okay.
like, and I was a killer, man. Like it was so strong. But I would just drench myself in it as like a 9, 10 year old. Totally inappropriate. But I loved it, but I loved it. And that was something that that was probably one of the first anything fragrance related that I owned. And then after that, I started kind of doing some like small stuff for my dad, like, and he would just give me the allowance, and then I would spend allowance and buying stuff. And I think my first fragrance that I bought with my own money and out of allowance was this Frank Olivier. It's called, I think, something like vanilla or something in that.
Yeah.
Like looks like a clamshell date bottle. I
Mm-hmm.
think that's the first one that I bought with my own money.
Yeah, I
And then
think that's
from
like a
there,
classic fragrance if I'm not mistaken. I think what is that guy's name? I just got a book, Turin or whatever. He's
look at
the
Renee.
Yeah, yeah, I just got a book from him and I think that fragrance might be in like his top 10 or something. I forget.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
And it wasn't really. I don't think it's even expensive anymore. But and then it was from Rasasi. There was a fragrance I got. This is like forward. I'm like 13, 14 years old. It was a fragrance from Rasasi called Innocence, I think. I
Okay.
bought that one and then I went through bottles of it, and my mom liked it so much that she got herself one. But then when that happened, I was like, ew, my mom is wearing it. So
My
I
mom's
was
wearing my scent.
like, like a typical teenager, right? Like, I don't want it. So I put it aside.
That's hilarious. Are there any like fragrances that you associate with like certain chapters of your life?
Yeah, so I think I mean, I'm gonna say like there's one fragrance that sticks in my mind a lot, and I haven't ever talked about it. So I left Iran. So I was born in Iran, and I immigrated to Canada a long time ago. I left Iran. I left my collection. I had about 30, 40 fragrances in my collection, and I came here, and then I was too poor to buy anything. Like I'd left everything I had back home, and I wasn't making as much money to buy any fragrances. But first fragrance that I bought with my own money was Versace Crystal Noir.
Mm.
And I remember it was such a luxury for me at that time where, I had to nickel and dime everything. I was getting paid what, $8 per hour minimum wage here. And and it was such a kind of pleasure I would take in that fragrance and use it. That really kind of stayed with me, even though now once in a while I go to stores, drugstores, and I just spray Versace Crystal Noir, and it just like brings me back like back there.
That's awesome. And well, and like out of your collection, what fragrance would you say, if any, means the most to you?
Hmm. So my probably number one favorite fragrance of all time is Iris Torrifi from Guerlain.
Mm-hmm.
And that is my dear for I don't know how many, I think probably I have close to 2 liters of that fragrance because it was going to be discontinued and I was just hoarding it like no tomorrow. So that is one of my most favorite fragrances. However, there's another fragrance from Guerlain I have. It's called Ne m'oublie pas, and that's a Wasser fragrance. Only 500 bottles of that was made, and it's a beautiful, beautiful rose. And I don't even like rose, but this is a really gorgeous fragrance, and I came across it just because on a live like this, I was talking about I'm never gonna get my hands on this fragrance. I had tried the sample, and I was just like saying, and someone who was watching my live reached out to me and said, "Hey, I've been watching you, and I think you can enjoy this better than I do." And I'm like, "Oh my God."
Wow.
So that fragrance is also very, very dear to me.
Wow. Well, so guys, I think this moral of the story here is if you're ever searching for some rare Guerlain and
Manifest here.
it's sold out, you know who's got the 2 liter bottle. Uh,
Oh, no, no sharing, no sharing with that one.
anyways, um, do you have a fragrance that you wear that you think most people wouldn't care for? I call it your I don't care fragrance. That it just speaks to you, but you've never really seen that anybody's into it.
Yeah, I do have fragrances that are like in cheapy range that I really enjoy. I even keep like a few bottles here and there, and some of them are actually baby perfumes, believe it or not. Um, like Europeans make baby perfumes, like it's not something customary here, but like all lines have their own baby perfumes. And one of my favorite ones is Bulgari actually, and Johnson and Johnson. I love that one too, but I haven't found it here yet. Johnson and Johnson used to have a baby perfume, and now I have a Bulgari Petit et Maman. That's for a baby perfume, and I wear that. I don't care. I mean, people say it smells like baby diapers, and I'm like, so what? I like the smell of fresh diapers. Me.
I was in a taco shop one time and I was wearing Black Orchid, and a lady said that I smelled like baby powder. And I had to really think for it because in my mind, I'm trying to smell the scent profile and I'm just like, where could you possibly get baby powder
Baby powder.
from cacao, patchouli, and orchid? But then I had to just remind myself, like, she's in the kitchen with beans and cheese and rice
Yeah.
and grease. Her nose is nuked.
Like,
She can't smell anything. Everything smells weird. You know, the cash register probably smells like lemon. I mean, it just so it was
probably.
just funny, but I remember that she was like, "Yeah, you smell like baby powder." It's like, "Oh, okay." But
I mean, you're using some luxury baby powder, man. Are you sure
yeah,
some lemon?
exactly. I had no clue how to take that. But not to mention I was probably 20 years older than her, but it was cute nonetheless. Um okay, if you were on a date, what would be a fragrance that a man would wear that would make you
Mm,
laugh?
make me laugh.
Yeah, like if they were wearing something so typical, but they were on a date with you and they were trying to impress you, but that was like the best they could offer because they're just not that trained with fragrance or anything like that. Would there be anything like if you smelled Eros or if you smelled, some typical designer, would you kind of chuckle inside? Would there be a fragrance like that?
No, I think that's just endearing. I feel like I wouldn't laugh. Like if someone is like showed up and put the fragrance, I mean, it shows effort, right? It's like such a sweet thing to do. Like it shows effort for kind of like, showing up and doing, you know, taking care of yourself and showing up for a date. It doesn't matter if it's Eros or whatever it is. If as long as it smells good. Obviously, if somebody shows up wearing some really stanky wood, I would be like, dude, bro, you failed this one. But and that would be a conversation, not really laughing. But if someone showed up and they don't know fragrances, to be honest, a lot of typical masculine fragrances smell good. There's a reason they sell because they smell good.
True.
So it wouldn't be a laughing point. It would be just more kind of endearing. I mean, of course, it would be a conversation started at some point, but
Yeah.
I think that's just fun.
Well, it's good to know you see the glass half full.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can look beyond it.
Yeah, I
Okay.
mean, the thing is, as long as it's respectful, it's not choking me, and if it is, something that smells generally good, there's nothing to laugh about. I think that's just sweet.
Okay, guys, so the fragrance won't make or break you. You still have a shot if you screw that part up.
Absolutely.
Okay. Um, Now I want to ask you some just quirky, fun questions to wrap up here, just to go lighthearted, because I've learned quite a bit about you. And we're going to bring another side out of you. So, name one celebrity that you would be curious to know what their fragrance collection looks like.
Oh,
Who's a celebrity
this
you've
is a
seen and you've said, man, I wonder what kind of fragrance he would wear or she would
yeah,
wear?
I wonder. Yeah, there are a few ones, and I wonder. This is for just laughs. I wonder what Jason Momoa is that how his name is
Mm,
Jason Momoa?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I wonder what his fragrance collection looks like. It must be just crazy because he looks crazy. That's why.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I always think about that sometimes with certain celebrities. I'm like, do they even wear fragrance? Or if they did, what are they the kind of person that has just like five really rare fragrances, or would they have a collection? It's fascinating to think about. Sometimes I'd even try to like pair a fragrance with the celebrity. Like they probably wear
Mm,
this.
mm.
What part? So, oh, this is a fun one. If
But
you,
let me
oh, go
just
ahead.
add this tiny bit. I don't know if you know Clemence from Clemence CC Fragrances. She's French and she has a French channel and English channel. Which is a big following and on YouTube. And
Mm-hmm.
to me, she's a celebrity. And I was so glad the first time I met her, she was wearing Chanel number 5, and that's what I always imagined that she would wear. I was
That's
so
cool.
happy that she wore something that I thought she would wear.
That's awesome.
That
That's
was
cool.
exciting.
Okay, so I have a magic wand in my hand. Pretend this water bottle is a magic wand. And I put a spell on you, and bam, I turned you into a fragrance note. What note would you be?
Iris,
Iris. Okay.
Iris,
I like
no
that.
question.
I like that. Nice. If you were to give us a percentage, how much of your fragrance choices are self expression versus other? So, other would be like wearing a fragrance to complement a space, wearing a fragrance to please other people and be pleasing to the environment or whatever. So, if you could give a percentage to, I wear this for me and myself versus other, what would that look like?
Um, this is not exaggeration. It's 100% for myself.
Okay.
I do not like actually what I do. I'm not supposed to be wearing fragrances. If somebody catches me on wearing fragrances, I feel like I'm busted. I'm doing something that I shouldn't be doing. So I'm really not looking for compliments in that professional setting. And at home, nobody else in my house is like wearing fragrances really. So it's not for that compliment factor at all. Like, I'm actually socially a little bit an introvert, even though I show up as extrovert sometimes.
Yeah.
So not really looking to draw attention to myself, and I'd rather not.
Hmm.
So most of my fragrances, if I'm wearing them, it's only for myself. It's not for other people to compliment.
In the vein of self expression, do you still consider like what the occasions are?
Um, yeah, obviously. So like if I'm gonna wear something to, it's gonna be different if it's gonna be in the evening, like a cocktail party, or it's gonna be like going out for lunch. That would be
Hmm.
different. Even though not 100% of time I abide by that. Sometimes I wear my rojas to grocery store. guilty as
Mhm.
charged.
Yeah.
But most of the time, if there are other people that going to be attending an event with me, I try to be kind of like consistent with what sense goes with that, event kind of thing,
Mhm.
and be respectful to others too, right? I'm not going to choke everyone in a party.
Yeah, so even when you go to different places and stuff, it's still a self-expression piece, but it's your take on what would best fit the space based off what would be the
Yeah,
best
so like
showcase of you.
let's say like today I'm feeling like I'm kind of comforting and soothing fragrance. I would pick something in that genre that is kind of more evening appropriate, like to going to, let's say, to an evening dinner something like that.
Yeah. Well, I think it's important to take into account that you have a big arsenal to choose from. So,
Right.
so even within those little nooks and crannies, you still probably have about 50 options per category that you can kind of tailor a bit. So that's nice. That's very nice. If your life was made into a movie, what fragrance would you be wearing in the opening scene?
In the opening.
The movie starts, the panning, the curtains open up, there's you walking down the street or something. What fragrance are you wearing?
It's Tom Ford, Shanghai Lily.
Oh, wow, cool choice. I like
Mm,
that. People, you need to get your nose on that fragrance. You need to get your
mhm.
nose on that fragrance.
It
Sick.
is
I like that.
beautiful.
Yeah, that's an amazing fragrance. Um, Give me a fragrance house that more people should know about. So that excuses all your top two because everyone knows about them.
Um, hmm. I think like the other houses that I have a lot of like the thing. I feel like there are a lot of Armanis that Armani Privés are not talked about at all, like
Mm-hmm.
in the fragrance community, and they have beautiful pieces, Armani Privés, and Celine's are also kind of, people talk about them, but they diss them out very quickly because they are not beast in terms of longevity, sillage, and not longevity. They're okay, but they're not a sillage. They're classical French perfumery. They're not gonna, radiate for a kilometer, like things
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that. So people just don't really go that way. But I feel like Celine's deserve a better space, and also some Armani Privés, and no one talks about those two. So I feel like there's a place for those.
I'm learning in my own personal journey right now that there is a beauty, at least in my opinion, to um, smaller longevity fragrances because you're left with the dry down, which is essentially the base, right? And so everything's on an expiration date, and the top and heart have the earliest expiration date. And so being able to reapply means you get to relive more of the beauty of the fragrance as far as the transition is concerned. And I think a lot of people sometimes feel like it's just a fragrance, but they don't really take into account that maybe an hour or two in, you get something different and it's less than, might not be beautiful or not beautiful, I'm not talking about that, but it's less than what the composition looks like as it's going through that initial 1 hour opening, heart and dry down. And so I'm enjoying, like, a fragrance I love is Straight to Heaven from By Killian. You might be lucky to get 2 or 3 hours out of that fragrance. However, I love that because you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to pull out that little decant and I'm going to nuke myself again and I'm going to relive that rainbow of
Yeah.
an opening into the dry down. And I love that. And there's some fragrances like that. Fragrances like Harrods and Burlington
Mhm.
1819 from Roja, Oceania, stuff like that, where the first hour is just awesome. It's just an experience. And I'm appreciating that. Whereas in the past, I don't, sometimes I used to think that it was just a collection thing where if you have a smaller collection, longevity really matters because you have less to choose from and you kind of just want to, it's more utility. As you grow your collection, it becomes more artful. You have it just because it does something for you and you're on a journey and, other boxes need to be checked. So, um, but yeah, I think it's also comes with learning learning more about your fragrances and learning how to interact with them in a deeper way, and that's a part of it is just knowing like
Yeah.
the transitions and stuff. And some fragrances have cooler transitions than others. Some stay pretty similar,
Mhm.
but I've been enjoying that in my journey. I am on the
Well, the thing is,
last. Oh, go ahead.
sorry, I'm just gonna interrupt you here. Like for me, I was thinking about that the other day, like because I wonder why is that for me? For me, if it like I'm like spend 6 hours smelling a fragrance, now it's time for you to go
Yeah.
and leave me, and I need a little bit of time to myself. I was thinking about how parallel it is with my kind of being in heart an introvert person. Like I do enjoy spending time with people, but I need them to go away for a little bit
Mm-hmm.
so I can enjoy them again. The same thing with the fragrance, right? If the fragrance is sticking around for 20, like I don't know, 12, 14 hours, that's way too much of a sensory overstimulation. I'm
Oh
like,
yeah,
okay,
even
now
like
I need you to go.
fragrances that project and radiate.
Hmm.
Like sometimes I've really appreciated diptyque fragrances for the fact that they feel like kind of glorified skin scents. They
Yeah.
hug really close and they're not wafting all over the place and just being disruptive, some of them. And especially not if you're getting the EDTs instead of the EDPs. But there is a time and a place for that type of fragrance where you don't want
Absolutely.
it to just be this
Mhm.
wanderer in the space. And that's again, there's still a practicality to that too. Like, where are you?
Yeah,
What are you doing? What mood are you in? So it's cool to be able to have different stuff. And then, like,
absolutely.
another thing that's been fascinating me recently is like fragrances that scream versus fragrances that whisper. Some fragrances do last just as long as the loud fragrances, but they're quieter. And
Yeah.
so they have a different level of complexity than stuff that radiates like a tiger or something like that, which is just gonna sail across the room like a missile. And so that's been cool. It's made me appreciate, like, I would have never years ago never appreciated a house like Diptyque. I would have sprayed the fragrances and said, "Oh wow, not spending all this money on this." But it's a whisper type of fragrance, and within
Yeah.
that space, it's actually really beautiful and very complex, and it fits a part of my day that Bulgaris and stuff like that can't.
Hmm.
Um,
And
are
then
you?
sometimes there are fragrances that they're like, they kind of, you smell them first and then it's gone. You're like, oh, where is it? And then you move around and he's like,
Yeah,
hey,
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
here.
Hey, I'm here. Yeah,
I'm here.
I have a couple of fragrances like that. They're like peekaboo fragrances.
Lovely.
Okay, so you've made it to the end. I have one last question for you.
Mhm.
And this is a bit of a pivot. So, you make content, right?
Yeah.
Um, and you mostly do lives just for the people out there. I swear, Mitra is like morning coffee because she's always live. I'm like, what time of day is it? You're always live. It's just
Yeah.
every, you are somewhere, you're outside, you're inside, you have somebody with you, you're having lunch, you're just live. It's like a 24-hour stream in my mind. But so tune in. If you're always wondering, when you go to live and there's rarely anybody live, just know she is, so you need to check her out.
Oh, no.
Ever since you started making fragrance content,
Mhm.
what has been the best part of it for you? Because I know when you make a channel, you put yourself out there, you really have no clue what's going on. And it's really just about you and your own sanity of like, I've always wanted to just try it. And then you put yourself out there, you have no clue what's going to happen. So, what's been the most positive thing for you since you've started chatting about fragrance online?
I think for me is the human experience part of it. It's not even about the fragrances, to be honest. Like it's mostly we talk about fragrances, we exchange ideas, but for me, it's my tangents. That's the best part that I love. Like if you watch ever of my lives, then yes, I do talk about fragrances, but I also go a lot on tangents about life and different things and friendships and meaning of life and all sort of other things. And then I connect with someone, like, and I see people are connecting, and like I see people are sending me messages afterwards about what we talked about, and they occasionally or rarely, I mean not rarely, but occasionally, some people say, what you said the other day made me think of, or made me think twice about what I was doing, and I was like, oh my God, that's the most beautiful moment. Like I think that humanity part of it is the part that I kind of crave, and that makes me come up and like despite having a busy life, like just get this on, and rather than wasting my 15 minutes in the parking lot before getting to work. Sometimes I do that. I'm alive. And then I was like, okay, well, let's just get this going as a nice conversation, and I get the dose of my human interaction, and then I'm off my go, off for my day.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you really succeed in fragrance when you come to the realization that it's just a tool, and
Hmm.
you can use it to have great experiences, especially with people. So I can agree totally. That's the number one thing that I've got from my fragrance journey is the people who I've run into and shared it with. So that's
I
really
mean,
cool.
like my family makes fun of me. It's like some of them say, "Well, I swear you're like a mafia. You know someone in every country, like because I have shipped so many things from here and there, and it's like, oh, I know someone in I don't know where, like Romania, and my family would be like, "Who do you know in Romania?" I was like, "Well, some fragrance guy." So,
some some girl, it's funny. You can develop such a bond, and it's so crazy. Like I have 20-year-old kids that call me, and we don't connect. We would never connect on any
yes,
level.
yes,
But with fragrance, you would think we were both 15 years old. We're just kids
yeah.
nerding out about fragrance. And I know we sound ridiculous to the rest of the world because we can literally talk forever. And I love that. It's a privilege to have something like that that can just break down like anyone can connect, and literally anyone. There's no background you could have that would exempt you from being able to enjoy fragrance and have something to talk about with people. Even if you can even have somebody who's just a total nerd, super collector, and somebody who's just getting into fragrance, they can talk for hours. There's because they
Yeah.
both have something to share, and it's fun. It's easy to do. It really
Hmm.
is so
Hmm.
easy to do. Like my wife looks at me all the time. She can tell by the look in my face who I'm talking to on the phone if it's fragrance related. She's just
Hmm.
like, "Oh, okay." And she's gotten sucked into the lifestyle as well of it, but she just laughs every time because it's almost like I go hide in my office, but she can hear me kind of Charlie Browning through the walls, just want Gucci, want Chanel, want. It's just funny. And then my son today, like we were going out for, I was taking him out for dinner, and he normally doesn't do this, but he ran in my office and he's like, "Hey man, um, so what am I gonna wear today for my fragrance?" I'm like, "You don't wear
Ooh.
fragrance." He's like, "Dad, come on, I do." And so he's like, walked me over to my collection, and it's like, "So what would go good with us? We're gonna go have tacos. So what's gonna go good there?" And he's 8. That's my oldest son, and so it's fun. It's again, it just connects you. It's such a light topic that gives you so much meaning, and it's cool.
Absolutely. It's almost like a kind of come everyone sit at the circle, like doesn't mean like doesn't matter where you are or what you do or how old you are. Like you connect with it like through fragrance to connect to human beings in an equal level. I think that's a great part about the fragrance community. On that, like um my oldest actually had gone to daycare and it's told his teachers, my mom has a lot. My mom collects bottles and doesn't let us touch them and keeps them in cabinets. And I was like, oh my God, now they're gonna think I'm an alcoholic. So I have a lot of explanation to do. It was a little bit, yeah.
That's
Kids
hilarious.
say the darndest things. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, and kids also forget details.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah, shout outs to Kix Griffey. He said fragrances help me feel. I thought that was pretty
Hmm.
profound. And
Hmm.
that's exactly it. So shout outs to him for that. I want to thank you so much for doing this. I think we learned a lot about you and got a lot of great nuggets of wisdom and story that people can appreciate. And the women are starting to watch this channel more, and so I've constantly felt the need to, it's crazy. there's moms that contact me and say, what should I get for my son? What should I get for my husband? You know, that type of thing. But I also review a lot of unisex fragrances, so I think that's why they come to the channel. But I was thinking through it, and I was like, man, I'd love to have some women on this channel talk about fragrance because you know, men are from Mars, women are from Venus. They have a different mind and a different perspective, and it's just fun to learn. It's fun to share that. I think a lot of channels are either just women's fragrances, just men.
Yeah,
Sometimes you see an occasional husband and wife channel or something like that.
yeah.
So I just wanted to include women into my platform and my space to share stories and enjoy this stuff with the guys, you know, and see what those conversations look like. So really appreciate you taking the time to do this. Why don't you let everybody know where they can see your content?
Uh, just first, I want to thank you for
Oh,
giving me
okay.
this opportunity on your channel. Thank you for being a great host and a great conversation. I really enjoyed this. Thank you very much for that. And yes, I agree. Like I know there's a lot of channels that they just do one fragrance or another. To be honest, I'm new in the men's fragrances. I wasn't really like into men's fragrances. I'm experimenting just because I got to know some people in the fragrance community, like Rich Mitch and all that channel. So we
Mm-hmm.
kind of got to know some fragrances through them, and I have now some men's fragrances that I wear. If anyone is interested, you can find me on Instagram. I think my handle is the same on Instagram, Mitra Le Parfum, and same thing on YouTube, Mitra Le Parfum. Um, I think I'm on Facebook. I'm known by Mitra K, and that's the Facebook name. But I also have a page on Facebook as well, and those would be pretty much where you can find me.
Awesome. We'll definitely have to have you back. Maybe if you're up for the challenge, maybe you could jump in on my game show, Wheel of Fragrance.
Yes, yes,
That
that's
would be
exciting.
pretty
You told me
cool.
a little bit about it, but now I'm excited
Yeah,
to see
you
what
got to
that's
check it out. It's definitely a fun way for people to learn about fragrances, but it's also just fun to on the fly think about what fragrances you wear for certain occasions and stuff. And bringing entertainment to the space. It's just a fun way to look at fragrance in a different way. I will put all of Mitra's socials and all that good stuff in the description below. If you guys have any questions for her, feel free to put it in the comment section below. Um, her or I will be more than happy to respond and see kind of what the conversation has been below and what you enjoyed about the episode. And maybe even who I should have on next in the space. I'm not as privy to all of the ladies in fragrance, but the algorithm's starting to show me other channels and stuff, and I'd like to just get everybody involved, and I'd love to have Mitra back as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of 21 Questions. And we really appreciate you guys for checking it out. Hope you have a great rest of your week. And until next time, take care. Thanks, Mitra.
Bye bye.